So now we discuss generalization. So what is generalization? How to draw, how to construct a generalized ER diagram from a set of entity types. So first of all, we'll go for what is generalization. Generalization is the process of extracting common attributes or common properties from a set of entity types. Generalization, it is a process of it is a process of extracting common attributes from set of entities. So generalization is the process of extracting common attributes from a set of entities or some set of entity types. So whenever we are extracting some common attributes from set of entity types, we called as a generalization. So generalization is the also, for example, if you go for it is a bottom-up process. Bottom-up approach for extraction of common attributes. It is also called as construction of supertype and subtype from set of entities. It is the process of construction of supertype and subtype from set of entities. That's we called as generalization. For example, let us assume that there are two types of employees. There are two types of employees. They are hourly employee, contract employee. The entity, the contract and the contract employees. The entities for these two
I-62
entities.
अच्छा చూడు మాయ్
Mute
నువ్వు వచ్చావుగా
for all.
సారీ ఒక్క
Let us assume that there are two entity types. So, hourly employee and the contract employee. Hourly employee has some common attributes and the contract employee has also some attributes. The ER diagrams for hourly employee. If you take hourly employee, the ER diagram for hourly employee is hourly employee. So there are some common attributes for hourly employee. Employee ID, employee ID, employee name, number of hours, number of hours, address, date of. So let us assume this is the hourly employee. So an hourly employee, this is the entity type. The attributes for this hourly employee entity type is so employee ID, employee name, number of hours, address, date of join. This is the attributes for hourly employee. Similarly, we have another type of employee called as contract employees. So this is the hourly employee. Employee ID, address. This is employee number, date of join. This is about hourly employee. Similarly, we have another type of employee called as contract employee. We have the contract employee. So contract employee also some common attributes. Employee number, employee name, address, employee number. So employee name, address, and contract number. So like this, there are two entities. One is called as hourly employee and another is called as contract employee. Hourly employee has the attributes employee number, employee name, address, number of hours, and date of join. Contract employee has an attributes, employee number, employee name, address, and contract number. So like this, there are two attributes. Among these two entities, there are some attributes which are common and some attributes are different. In the case of employees, both the employees, employee number, employee name, and address is common for both the entities. However, there are some different. In this case, so we can construct a generalized entity type from these two entities. The attributes employee number, employee name, and address are common for both the entities. So it's common for both the entity types. So the generalized entity type from these two entity types is, so the generalized entity type from these two entity types is, so we have the employee, again we have the hourly employee and contract employee, hourly employee and contract employee. So then the attributes which is common for both the entities will be in super type. This is the common. Actually, there are three attributes which is common for both the entities. They are employee number, employee name, and employee number, employee name, address, which is common for these three. హలో పద్మశ్రా రావాల్సిందేమన్నా సరేలే ఇక్కడ ఎప్పుడైనా వచ్చినప్పుడు వస్తాను ఇక్కడ పెట్టుకో, ఇక్కడ పెట్టుకో ఇప్పుడు. So this is the employee number, employee name, and address, employee number, employee name, and address. These are attributes which is common for both the entities. So when there is common, we place into the address. So common attributes. So then we have the generalization symbol. What is generalization? I will give. So this is the generalization symbol. So hourly employee. It's one contract employee. Hourly employee and contract employee. So the attributes which are different from one attribute to another attribute will be in super type. So this is a different attributes. That there are two different attributes for these two. Those which will be defined in these two which are different, which is defined in super type. The which is different will be in the different here is the number of hours. This is one different attribute, number of hours. Date of join. Date of join. So this is the contract number. So this is the generalization. This is the process of this employee. So here employee is the generalized entity type. So this is the process of construction of super type and subtype from a set of entity types. This we called as generalization. What is generalization? How to construct a generalization? Generalization is the process of extraction of common attributes from set of entity types. Whenever we are extracting some common attributes from set of entity types, that we called as generalization. It is also called as construction of supertype and subtype from set of entity types. So it is the process of construction of supertype and subtype from a set of entity types. So whenever we are constructing a supertype and subtypes. So let us will take an example. Let us assume that there are two types of employees: hourly employee and contract employee. So hourly employee has an attributes: employee number, employee name, number of hours, address, and date of join. Contract employee is an attributes: employee number, employee name, address, and contract number. So this is the contract number, this is date of join. I want to construct there in this about two entities. There are some attributes which is common for both the entity types, and there are some attributes which are different from one entity to another entity. The attributes employee number, employee name, and address, which is common for both the entity types. So the attributes date of join and number of hours, which is different from which is exclusively for hourly employees. Contract number is exclusively for contract employees. So in this case, there are some attributes which is common for both the entities, and some attributes which is different from one attribute to another attribute. In this case, we construct a generalized entity type from this. The generalized both are employees, so that the generalized entity type is employee. So then the construction of supertype and subtype from the above two types of entities is here is the employee is the generalized entity type. The attributes which is common for both the entities will belongs to the supertype. Here employee is the supertype. The attributes which is common for both the entities will belongs to the supertype. The attributes which is common is employee number, employee name, and address, which is common for both the employees. In this case, these three attributes will belongs to the super type employee. And there are two subtypes. One is called as hourly employee, another is called as contract employees. So the attributes which is distinct from one entity type to another entity type will belongs to the subtypes. So hourly employee will exclusively has number of hours and date of join. Contract employee is exclusively for date of contract number. So this is the process of construction of supertype and subtype from a set of entity types. This is called as generalization. So what is a generalization? Generalization is the process of extraction of supertype and subtype. So whenever we are extracting the supertype and subtype from a set of entity types, we call it as generalization. Similarly, we have the specialization is also there. Specialization is the top-down approach. So that means from a supertype we are specialized. From a supertype, we are constructing two specialized entities. That's we call as specialization. Specialization is also there. This is the process of generalization. Next we go for this is called as generalization. So when it is also possible to construct specialization also. So whenever we are using, at least top is the generalization is the top down approach. When we go for bottom up approach. So in the case of specialization, so we use this symbols from bottom to top. That's why we are from hourly employee, contract employee, we are constructed employees. That's why it is top down. So it's called as bottom up approach. That's we are written here. So it is a bottom up approach. So that means we are construction from employee super type from subtypes hourly employee and contract employee. From hourly employee and contract employee we are constructed a super type called as employee. That's why it is called as generalization. That's it is called as generalization. That's why generalization is a process of creating. In the case of specialization, it is a top-down approach. Top-down means so from super type to we are constructing subtypes. When we are constructing subtype from a super type, then it becomes the specialization. For example, the specialization for this is so we remove this and we place. When you write the symbol like this, then it becomes a specialization. So it is a top-down approach. Top-down, it is a top-down approach. Whenever we are using the top-down approach, it is a specialization. Whenever we are using bottom-up approach, this instead of this, we use like this symbol. Then it is a top-down approach. Then it is a specialization. Both are will called as class hierarchies. This we called as class hierarchies. This is called as generalization. So when we are construction from super type to subtypes, then it is called as the specialization. Okay, the process of construction of super types and subtypes from a set of entities. Then it is called as what 1 minute. So this is the process of this we called as generalization. Next we go for Another is called as specialization. The specialization for the above, for example, the specialization. So the specialization for this above diagram is to take this employee. Employee. It's very difficult to draw each and everything. That's the very major problem. It's difficult to work. Drawing is a difficult process. This one employee. So this is the employee, hourly employee, employee, employee. So this we called as specialization. See, it is a top-down approach. From super type to we are constructed subtypes. So from super type to we are constructed subtypes, then it is called as specialization. So again we write the attributes which is common. The attributes which is common for employee employee number, employee number, employee number, employee name, address. So these are the common for both the employees. The different attributes. The different attributes are number of hours, So this contract number. Now, date of join. Date of join. This is called as um, number of hours. So this is the process of specialization. Like this, we construct two types of super type and subtypes. One is called as generalization, another is called as specialization. So actually, both and the generalization is the process of from bottom to up. So that's why it's called as bottom up approach. From top to bottom, we call it as specialization. So from employees, we are classified into the employees which are classified into hourly employees and contract. Here we say that the employees we are classified into hourly employees and contract employees. So the general specialization for this for these employees like will be like this we call this. While in the case of specialization, there are two we will called as like this. So this is the specialization. There are two types of employees. So hourly employee and contract employee. The generalization, the super type and subtypes is we call it like this. This is called as specialization. This is called as generalization. So like this, there are two types of super types and subtypes. This we call as class hierarchy. This we call as also class hierarchy. Class hierarchy means what is class hierarchy? Class hierarchy, the process of so construction of super types and subtypes from a set of entity types. There are two types of class hierarchies. One is called as generalization, another is called as specialization. So what is generalization? Generalization is the process of extracting the common attributes from the set of entity types. This is a bottom-up approach. What is specialization? Specialization is the process of identifying the subtypes from a entity type. Identifying a subtype from entity types is called as subtypes. Identifying subtypes from an entity type is called as specialization. So identifying subtypes from entity types is called as specialization. So we have the super type. From super type to we are identified subtypes. That's we call as specialization. So while in the case of bottom of generalization, we have the subtypes. From subtype to we are constructing super type. That's we call as generalization. So while in the case of specialization, we have the super type. From super type to we are identified subtypes. That's we called as specialization. So like this, there are two types of entities, generalization and the class specialization. So this is about today's class. So tomorrow we'll discuss some other topics. There is one chart here. Sir, please speak bit louder. Oh, sorry. Tomorrow I will speak louder. Actually, I am not observed this. So tomorrow I will speak loudly. Okay, I just watched this your message today. So tomorrow I will speak loudly. So if there is any, I will check once again. If it is very low, then I will clarify once again. Tomorrow I will clarify the problem. Again I will explain. Okay, no problem. Thank you very much.